Hello, tonight my name is JRock Houston, and we're speaking with Bass Player Chip Znuff, of course, from a band Enuff Znuff. And of course, Chip, the reason we're talking to you today is because the band just put out a new CD called Covered in Gold, which is a covers album, and you guys are celebrating your 30 years together. So I want to start off the interview by saying I had a chance to listen to the CD, and I really enjoyed it.
Much appreciated, Jason. You told me 30 years ago I'd be putting out a cover record. I think you're crazy.
Yeah, and you know, I got to tell people I haven't had a chance to hear it. Like I said, the album itself is called Covered in Gold, and you guys, what I really enjoyed about it is, people think of Enuff Znuff as a, hard rock kind of pop band, but you guys, you really chose songs that people I don't think typically would, expect you guys to cover. For example, I really dug the cover of, Believe It or Not, which of course is a TV theme song. So I was curious, how did you guys decide to cover, which songs you were going to cover?
Well, I Believe It or Not, if you want to start with that.
Yeah.
We were shooting a movie last year, actually a TV show for a major network. It was a wonderful opportunity for Enuff Znuff. The TV show was basically like Real Life Monkeys.
Okay.
TV show. And showing the scars and warts and tattoos of what we carry through our career. And the director of the show, his name was Asa Greenberg. He thought it was in our best interest to have a theme song for the TV show, and he suggested recording that. After prodding and poking my band for weeks about the show, nobody wanted to do the song except for myself. I told the band, I said, look, it's a test. The network wants to see if we're going to actually listen to them, and we're a band that can take any direction. I think we should really do this, guys. And I talked everybody into coming over to my studio, and one day we recorded the song, and I had Tony Fennell from Ultravox flying from England. He produced the track with me, and after we finished it, I sent it to the network, and they said, this is fantastic, you guys. Really love the song. This could be a great theme song for the TV show. Can you record one more song? And he gave us Jimi Hendrix, Manic Depression. And we recorded that as well, but I didn't add that on the record.
Okay.
However, after listening to the song, we decided, we didn't get the TV show. We shot the pilot, and they accepted it. And then for one reason or another, we've always had good and bad luck. There's always been a black cloud over our heads.
Yeah.
We ended up not getting the show, but we had the songs. And when I was putting the record together, I said, this has got to be one of the tracks that we have in the record to show our influences, because even though a song wasn't a major influence to us, the TV show was very important. It's a part of our fabric.
Yeah.
And we just thought it would be a good idea to add that onto the record. And I'm pleasantly surprised. A lot of the people around the country have been talking about that song. I really like it a lot. I'd love to see that to be released as a single for this record, because I think it will do very well for us. Yeah,
I really suggest you do, because I got to tell you again, Chip, like that's a show I watched when I was growing up. That's a TV show from the 80s, but I always dug the song. But I got to say, the Enuff Znuff version, you guys really rocked it up, and I really think anybody would enjoy, like me, get off and, there's a really nice guitar solo in the middle of the song, and you guys really rocked it up. And like on all the tunes on this album, what I really enjoyed is you guys really put your own spin on these songs, and really, especially this Believe It or Not, like we're talking about, you guys really made it your own. For anybody who's never heard the original song, I think
that's what we do on most of the songs, but it could have been a copy record. That's what you go into a song, redo a song, and you do it exactly like the band recorded it.
Yeah.
And that's not a cover; it's a copy.
Yeah.
And every single song on this record, from the David Bowie stuff, which is a huge influence of ours, down to Queen, down to the Beatles, Cheap Trick, all the bands, we tried to turn those songs into ours, and that's why it's a cover record. It's not a copy record; it's a cover record. It's our own rendition of each artist that has been influential in our lives throughout our career.
Yeah, and I'd like to ask you a little bit about the first track, Everything Works If You Let It, which of course is a Cheap Trick song. I was curious, how well do you know those guys? Because they're from Illinois as well, right?
Great friends with Cheap Trick. Absolutely adore that band. Robin Zander, probably one of my favorite singers outside of Donnie
Uh-huh.
Love Rick Nielsen. I think he's one of the most iconic songwriters in the last 2 decades. And when we were recording the Cheap Trick song, we wanted to do something that Cheap Trick that doesn't really play a lot live.
Yeah.
You don't hear a lot of. And we picked Everything Works If You Let It because when we were starting to go in the studio to record these songs, I approached Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins, and I asked him if he'd be interested in playing guitar and a song for us on a record. And he said, "What song?" I said, "We're doing a cover of Cheap Trick's Everything Works If You Let It." And Billy Corgan is such a nice, smart man, I'll tell you that. He says, "Chip, that's probably my favorite Cheap Trick song ever." And I said, "I'd be honored if you come down and play on it." And it was on a Friday. I talked to him. He said, "When you go in the studio?" I said, "We're at Chicago Recording Company downtown on Ohio Street, and we're going to start tracking on Sunday." And at noon, he showed up with his guitar and his little silver magic pedal that he carries with him. And he walked in the studio. He says, "Chip, where's all Mesa Boogie stacks?" And I said, "I didn't know that you wanted to use that kind of stuff." I go, "But I got one little boogie cabinet right over there with 412s. And he goes, "That'll do." And he just plugged it in, plugged his pedal in, and he goes, "Can you show me the riff?" No, he said it was his favorite song, but he didn't know it.
Yeah.
And I took the guitar and I showed him the riff, and that was it. He's a real smart musician. He picked it right away, and a couple of passes, and he nailed it. And 1 or 2 takes, he's a very astute guitar player. And I said, "This is going to be great because it's nice to have the Smashing Pumpkins name attached to a song with Enuff Znuff."
Yeah, and another song I really, like I said, I really dig all these songs you guys chose to cover, but I thought like choosing to do Stone Cold Crazy is a really great choice because again, it's not a song that it's a little, that's probably like the most metal you guys have ever got, if you know what I mean, and it's really heavy for Enuff Znuff, but I think it's great to show the audience, that you guys can get that heavy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, Bruce Kulick's brother from Kiss called me on the phone and says, "We're putting together a Cheap Trick tribute record over here at Cleopatra Records. And we'd love you to be involved in it. Would you be interested in playing one of the Queen songs, recording one of their older records, one of their older records?" And I said, "Well, it depends what song you would like us to do." I said, "Something like Stone Cold Crazy." The first song I said, and he goes, "That'd be perfect." So it just so happens that I was at Chicago Recording Company at the time, and I seen Corgan upstairs recording. They were doing Smashing Pumpkins stuff, and I asked Billy, I said, "Would you be interested in coming down and playing on another song with us? We're doing Stone Cold Crazy by Queen." And he says, "Oh man, I don't know, but I don't really play the guitar like that." I said, "Well, if you aren't going to do it, I'm going to get Steve Stevens to come on down and play on it." And he says, "Yeah, you're better off like that probably. I just can't do it right now." I said, "No problem, Billy. Thanks anyway." And we tracked the whole song, and I couldn't get Steve Stevens at the time. He was out in Japan touring. But I went and got Ashley Scott, who played with Greg King Band.
Okay.
The Greg King, you don't write him like that anymore. He's got tons of hits. So Ashley Scott came down there and played guitar on it, and that's a great track. I think we did a terrific job. We turned that one into our own as well.
Oh, yeah,
and,
yeah.
Of course, later on I looked at the history. I said, "Oh, Metallica recorded this song too." But that's okay. Everybody's got their own rendition of it, and I think we really turned it into a song that could be an Enuff Znuff song.
Yeah. I mean, I could say that in any of these songs. I mean, another song I really dug was Tears of a Clown. That's another song that I've actually heard the original to, and you guys really kind of almost metalized it, and it's a great it's another great tune. I guess that you could say you put the Enuff Znuff stamp on.
And what song was that?
Tears of a Clown. I mean, who would think you could have a Smokey Robinson song that heavy, but I think you just guys.
We grew up here in South Side Chicago, listening to not only the Beatles and Queen and Bowie and Cheap Trick, but we also listened to Sly and the Family Stone. And Tears of a Clown was a song that was written by Smokey Robinson and Stevie Wonder, and they were a big influence of ours. And we're like a potpourri, our band.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of different influences, and we just so happened to hear that song and think, well, maybe we could turn this one into something close to what we would do, but let's try to heavy it up a little bit. And we did. We could have tuned the guitars down to D and turned it into an Alice in Chains triple. We just said, "No, just make it. We're a pop band. Let's just do it with the guitars turned up and the drums real big and see where it goes." And with the 3-part harmonies on there and the powerful bass and drums, I think that we really nailed that one. That's one of my favorite tracks on the record, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, and another one I really dig, and I think you guys are actually probably first people ever cover this song is track 11, Yankee Rose, which of course was on David Lee Roth's very first solo album after he left Van Halen, Eat 'Em and Smile.
Yeah, we're in the south side of Chicago in a studio that's closed down now called Star Tracks. And they work with a lot of different bands, from InXS to Twist, a real diversified studio. And unfortunately, it's no longer up and running anymore. But we were able to record that song in one night over at the studio. And I remember the record company gave us money to record the track and pay for the studio. And Donnie couldn't make it to the studio that day. He says, listen, I'm not going to be able to make it there. You're going to have to take the vocal duties. And I said, you son of a bitch. They really put the pressure on me. So I went in there, and I was so mad you could hear my voice. It didn't even sound like me singing, but I was so mad, and I really, really gave it everything I got. And I think even Donnie called me after the record came out and said, man, you really nailed it on the vocal on that song. And I was real proud to hear that from a guy who I think I look up to as a great singer. And it's one of the stronger tracks on the record as far as hard rock songs goes. We really nailed that one.
Yeah, I gotta say, you really did, Chip, as far as the vocal, because again, I'm a David Lee Roth fan myself, and when I listened to your guys' version of this song, you got the attitude of the original song down, but what I really dug about it, you got your own kind of like stamp, like we said, and I think the fact that you're a guy that typically doesn't do a lot of lead singing, that's what makes the track that much more special, because your vocals really do stand out. That's one of the first things I noticed about the song.
I sing on, thank you very much. I appreciate hearing that, Jason. I sing on every single Enuff Znuff record. I'm on all the background vocals on all the songs. And most of the records, there's a song or two that I'm singing lead vocals on each record.
Okay.
Excluding the first record. And so for me to take the lead vocal duties, it's quite a task when you're working with one of the greatest, in my opinion, one of the greatest singers in rock, in Donnie V. That being said, that gave me a lot of confidence going to the studio and recording that song, and it showed a different side of Enuff Znuff. It shows that we can play and with the big boys out there.
Yeah,
that song was a real testament to us, to our fans, to show that when it comes to hard rock or metal or pop, we can cover anything.
And another thing I noticed in your selection of songs you guys covered is, again, people might typically expect you guys, being that you grew up in the '70s and that you do a lot of material from that era. But there's as much stuff from the '80s, which I think which is where Enuff Znuff first emerged, which I think is great that you guys did something like even from Prince and the Bowie track, like you're saying, and then there's Jealous Guy, which I think that's one of my I think that's really a great one of my more favorite tracks on there. It really fits your band, because you guys are so influenced by the Beatles.
Yeah, absolutely. That's left a big indelible mark with us, because our moms and dads played that stuff, and it just seeped into our blood, and you are what you eat. That being said, those Beatles songs, very challenging to record those songs. Okay, it's not an easy gig.
Yeah.
But Donnie eerily sounds just like Lennon. And I got to be honest with you, we recorded that song, and that was one take. We just bashed it out live in the studio with real minimal overdubs, and it just really came out great. I'm real proud of it. I'm real proud of all the Beatles tracks on the record.
And as far as the songs, I was curious, did each guy kind of make a list of which songs they wanted to try to cover, or how did you guys just kind of all agree that these are the tracks we're going to do?
Yeah, I just bring the song down, or Donnie had ideas, and we just started recording them. There's no cars designed with the front seat and the back seat, and Donnie and I sit in the front seat, and that's the way it was, and we just bring the songs down. The guys were all real happy just to record them, and it didn't matter. Nobody questioned anything.
And of course, you and Donnie are the guys that, the two mainstays that have been in the band for the last 30 years, and I was curious, because I was reading on the internet a couple days ago that it was saying Donnie, he's kind of like, he doesn't tour as much with you guys, but he appears on all the records. So is that accurate, or would you say he's back with the band full time?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate. He never was fired, of course.
Yeah.
He took a little break and an extended vacation, if you will, for lack of a better way
Yeah.
And Donnie Monaco, who's been playing guitar with us for the last 10 years and singing and touring with us, he was able to take over the lead vocal duties along with myself. And that's how we tour. We tour the three-piece right now.
And let me ask you.
The band sounds great, Jason. When you see the band live in concert, I don't want to sound like I'm unmodest. I'm really appreciative of all the years that I committed myself to this craft. The band sounds strong right now as it ever has. We play our sense of potpourri of material, mixing it from the first album all the way down to our 15th studio record.
Yeah.
Playing stuff off everything, and the fans seem to dig it. The shows have been well attended.
Yeah,
We went through a lot of problems throughout our career. Most bands, the average life expectancy is 5 years. We were able to keep it going up to this point. We're still touring, and it's a living testimony that we're the real McCoy, and that we work real hard at a craft. And when you come out and see Enuff Znuff show live, those songs are going to sound close to the record.
Yeah.
Really nail it. We rehearse still. Bands always getting together, doing stuff, and it's only fitting that everybody out there that was a fan of the band in the past knows that don't be ashamed or don't think the band is not like it was. It's a fine, well-tuned, oiled machine, and you come out and see Enuff Znuff concert, you'll be pleasantly surprised.
No. Yeah, I gotta say, one thing I've always respected about Enuff Znuff, besides the quality of your guys' music, and that is your work ethic. Like you said, you guys have you've had good luck come your way, bad luck, whatever you want to say, but you guys have stuck it out for 30 years, and there's it's almost as long as Kip's been doing it. You guys have been 10 years younger, whatever, but that's something.
Jason, for years we took a beating.
Yeah.
And around after our Poison, we toured with Poison on Glam Slam Metal Jam tour in 2002 with Quiet Riot and Warren and Enuff Znuff and Poison. Those were the four bands. And after that, we couldn't get a record deal. Everybody wanted our records for free, so we didn't know what to do. So at the time, our manager Herbie Herbert, he was retiring. He was able to procure a couple of deals with us over in Japan with King Records and over in Europe with a label called Rock Candy. And then he's retired, and we were left on our own. The inmates were running the asylum, so to speak.
Yeah.
And just this year, we were lucky enough to where Cleopatra called us, the president, and said, "Chip, you guys did a favorites record with us, which was a greatest hits record years ago, and it's done very well for the label. I want to do something with you guys again. I always like working with you." And it's a blessing that we actually have a label and a machine that's actually behind the band, giving us some attention, got a nice publicist.
Yeah.
And got people working for the band that actually care a little bit. It's really it's a blessing. We're going to make the most of it. We're going to go out there. We're going to tour on this record, and it's going to hopefully hold everybody over until our next studio record comes out next year.
And let me ask you, Chip. So that's the plan right now, which is you guys got this new covers album out, and Cleopatra. Do they already want to? Are they going to be releasing the next studio album, or does it kind of depend on how this one sells?
No, they want it. I see us in bed with them for quite a while, hopefully. We've got a great, wonderful relationship with the label, and they're really a big fans of the band. They love our songs, and they know we work real hard. And I think the combination of all it together says there's no reason for us to not put a studio record up. The fans have spoken now.
Yeah.
This record has come out. It started on iTunes and on Amazon. Was number 30. And so people have spoken, and they're basically saying, "Thank you for this record. We can't wait to hear the next studio record." That was a big motivating factor for us to put this record out. If we're going to do a cover record to celebrate our 30 years in the business, I want to follow it up with a great studio record. So I plan on doing something and releasing a new album maybe in the middle of next year, because I'm not going to put anything out that's substandard. And it'll be a 10, 11, 12-song record. We'll see what we're going to do, but we got some great new songs. I can't wait to play them for you.
And again, I got to tell people, who think, it's just a cover CD. No. I mean, you got 14 tracks on here. 12 of them are cover songs, if you will, but like you really rock them up, and it's Enuff Znuff. I mean, it's as good as a new Enuff Znuff record until the next one, like you said. And another thing I want to ask is, I noticed you guys have a song on here you did on the Howard Stern show, and he's always been a big fan of yours. I was curious, how did you guys first hook up with Howard?
Back in 1989, Dee Snider from Twisted Sister's brother, Mark Snider, used to work as a radio rep for Atco Records, which was our label, Atco Atlantic Records. So he said, I got a friend out here in New York. I think you guys would really like him. His name's Howard Stern. Now, from Chicago. We heard of Stern, but we didn't know much about him.
Yeah.
Went down to the studio that morning, got there at 5:30 in the morning, went on the air at 6 o'clock. And from the moment we said how we got, it was instant bonding. I hail Howard Stern. I absolutely adore him. He's been great to us. We have a wonderful relationship. I've been on the show a dozen times. He's been wonderful to be. Never turned his back on us, and he's helped us sell hundreds of thousands of records. And it's only fitting that when we put this record out, that we put that track on there, Hide Your Love Away, because not only was it a great performance live, no overdubs, no in the studio stuff, just plugging in and playing live and moving on the show. It just shows the bands, it doesn't matter what time of the day it is, we're ready to go. And what a fantastic endorsement from the king of all media.
Yeah, and listening to that track, Gotta Hide Your Love Away, you guys really sound, great on there. It's an unplugged tune. Have you ever thought about, putting out an unplugged DVD or, even a CD or something like that of your stuff?
Yeah, I have. I have enough material to do that. It's something that we're talked about. It might be in the pipeline. There's already enough material right now to do that. Whether we put it out or not remains to be seen. I don't know if it'll come out first or it'll be
down the line.
A new studio record. But yeah, we've talked about just putting out an unplugged record, just like an MTV type thing, where we're just playing around, sitting around with guitars and not big bombastic drums. Just simple, organic, pure. I think it's a wonderful idea, and only time will tell what's the next move with Enuff Znuff.
And I want to ask you, because you're making the point that you guys these days pretty much tour as a three-piece, and Johnny Monaco, he does a lot of lead singing, as you were saying, live. But again, I was just impressed with what a great lead player he is. I mean, even if you go and listen to that Believe It or Not track, I mean, just listen to soloing there. The guy, he can wail on the guitar just as much as he can sing.
Yeah, that's one take. That guy's a champion. Listen, he's a GIT graduate. He started as a guitar tech for Mr. Big, Paul Gilbert.
Oh, really? Wow.
Paul Gilbert's got for a year or so, and who's not only we're big fans of, but he's also a great friend of ours. And I think that Monaco just can't fit into the fold perfectly with Enuff Znuff. And he sings great, where he sounds purely like Donnie. And when it comes to guitar playing, the guy's he shreds, and it's effortless for him. And he loves doing it. He comes from that school, same school as Derek Frigo.
Wow.
Listen, all that old stuff. He in the early days, he was a big Dave Malmsteen's fan, but he listened to Eddie Van Halen. He loves Brian May, and he's got his own timbre. When he plugs the guitar in, it's him.
Yeah, and I was curious about your new drummer, Eric. Never heard of him before. I was curious, where did you guys find him?
Well, Eric Donner was in the band in 2004.
Oh, okay.
When Ricky got sick, our old drummer, Ricky Perrin, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
He was going through some health issues. We brought Eric on board, and Eric, his father was the late Raul Donner.
Oh, okay.
And Raul Donner was Robert Plant's favorite singer. When Robert Plant went and was inducted into the Hall of Fame, he mentioned Raul Donner as one of his favorite singers.
Oh, okay.
And so this guy, he's a pedigree, comes from that school. His dad was a star, and he's one as well. Sings lead vocals. He's a wonderful. He can sing lead in almost any band. He's a great singer, and he just happens to play drums. He's just a great musician, and we thought it was only fitting to get him back into the band. During that time when he was in the band, he toured with us for a couple of years, and he left, and then Chad Stewart from LA Guns took over and did all the European tours for us.
Okay.
And he was great too, because he's a lead singer as well.
Yeah.
And we always look for drummers that can sing, because there's a lot of vocals on our records, and we thought it would be only fitting to try to get Eric back in the band. When I called him, he said, I'd love to. I miss you guys. And he came back this year, and I can't tell you how happy I am to have him back on board. What a solid citizen he is. And look at the world, too. He's a star.
Wow. Yeah, and I gotta compliment you too, because Chip, one thing I've always enjoyed listening to your music is you know, you got the songs, they got great hooks, and I really enjoy listening to music like what you guys put out because the songwriting is just so strong. I want to talk a little bit about your, you know, your influences as far as songwriting goes because you and Donnie, when you guys get together and you write, you just, you know, you guys are the foundation of a band. You have such a magic, solid foundation as far as the songwriting.
Thanks, Jason. It's really nice and very kind of you to say. I've had the pleasure of being able to work with one of the greatest songwriters in the last 25 years. Donnie and I have always had a great chemistry together. We both see eye to eye. There wasn't a lot of arguing and fighting. We show each other our ideas, and we're able to put them in creation and get them on tape. And that says a lot, especially when, like I said earlier, the average life expectancy of any band is like 5 years.
Yeah.
We've been writing songs forever. Since the early days when I first put this band together, back in 1984, we were little kids. Donnie was 15 years old. And, we started writing songs. I had a little 4-track Fostex in my apartment that I lived in Blue Island, and we just recorded song after song. We just put them all down, and finally found people that were interested and then listened to us and say, "Hey, you guys have something that's special here." And during those times, we were real focused. The band, there wasn't a lot of substance abuse. We weren't crazy with the women. We were just really focusing on our craft, and that's writing great songs and trying to leave an indelible mark. And when we were putting the band together and putting these songs together, our influences were, the bands we were looking at were like Zeppelin, Queen, Bowie, Sweet, Cheap Trick, Alice Cooper, Sly the Family Stone, Stevie Wonder. It was a real hodgepodge. Black Sabbath. It was a big hodgepodge, big potpourri of different kinds of styles. And it just so happens we were able to put them underneath one umbrella.
Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, yeah. You know, I think that's maybe why, you know, you guys have been together for 30 years because you got such strong material. And then that's also why I think, you know, that 30 years, this is the first time you guys are covering other people's material because your material is just, you know, that good on its own, you know?
Well, we wanted to show everybody our influences. It's 30 years, and another studio record right now may not be the right time.
Yeah.
It certainly wasn't ready, but these songs were. They were all recorded, and you know, if we had to, in today's day and age of recording studios, if we had to record all these songs again the way we did on 2-inch tape, analog, it would cost us over $100,000. And
let me ask you, was this album something you guys have been planning for a while, or did you because it seemed like it just came out, you know, there wasn't much talk about before it kind of just come together where you realize, hey, I have all these tracks laying around that we recorded over the years, and why don't we put out on a CD?
No, I had the songs. Obviously, a good half of the record was previous material that was recorded. And then when I went back to the studio and started recording some other cover songs, and I thought this makes a lot of sense right here. All these songs put together on one CD. And it was Brian Pereira, the president of Cleopatra Records, that came to me and said, "Why don't you guys put a cover record?" And I said, "I have a whole bunch of material. You know, fresh new stuff that I've just recorded in the last couple of months, and then stuff from the past." He says, "Let me hear what you got." So I went into the recording studio here in Chicago. I have my own recording studio called Chip Znuff Studios, but all these songs were pretty much recorded in other places.
Yeah, yeah.
With the exception of Believe It or Not and The Stroke by Billy Squire. And I said, man, I gotta go somewhere and really put these, really make this nice. So I rented out, I leased out Chicago Recording Company for a couple of days, and I hired Chris Shepard. And Chris Shepard's responsible for Blind Melon, Infinite Sadness, Smashing Pumpkins. He did a bunch of Elvis Costello records. He's worked with Cheap Trick. The guy's amazing. He's recorded Coldplay and every single band you can think of that's out there. He does all the Coachella festivals and the Lollapaloozas. You know, I was able to lock him out of the studio for 3 days and actually put this record all together.
Wow.
And when we were finished and had all 14 songs on one CD, we were blown away and said, this is something that I think the fans could sink their teeth into, because as opposed to an all-original record, these are a lot of these songs people will recognize. And it was the president of the record company that said, you know what, let's call this record Covered in Gold, because every one of these songs are a gold record. I said, man, you're a genius. Let's do that. It sounds great.
Wow, yeah, and you know, and I gotta say too, two more tracks I really love is, of course, the Nirvana song, All Apologies, and I like the fact that you guys gave some love to the cult, you know, on She Sells Sanctuary. I think you guys might be one of the first bands to ever actually cover of a Colt.
Yeah, that was a tough one right there. I remember when we first recorded the music first, we were in the studio just jamming on it. Donnie goes, man, I don't want to do this song. I'm not comfortable with this. And then after he sang the song, he says, I have nothing but respect for Ian Astbury. That guy's a great singer. Once you hear somebody do something and then you try to emulate it, boy, it's not an easy job. And he nailed it. First take, he went right in there and sang the whole thing, and we never did any punches or anything. And I was surprised how fantastic that one came out. They were the Colts, a band that we've always loved. They came out around the same time as Enuff Znuff, maybe a little earlier than we did.
Yeah.
And it was quite a challenge to record that song because we're nothing like the Colts.
And
as far as All Apology, the Nirvana track, that was really recorded live on Howard Stern show.
Oh, okay.
And then we took what we did on Howard Stern, went back in the studio and put some percussion drums on there and stuff. But that's basically live in the studio on Stern as well.
Oh, cool. And, and one thing I say I really love about the Nirvana track is it seems to fit the band. And, again, you guys aren't doing the typical thing people would think, like maybe covering, Team Spirit or something. I think it's really a great track, and people should hear it. And I was curious, do you think there'll be any videos for any of these songs?
Yeah, there will be. We're working on it right now. I won't tell you what it is because
I hear you.
I want to surprise you. Yes, there will be a video to accompany this record. Actually, there'll be 2 videos. We're working on the first song right now.
Oh, cool. And I want to ask you, Chip, because I was also reading that I don't know if this is true, but that around Illinois, where you're from time to time, when you have some downtime, you also play in a CCR tribute band. Is that correct?
I was. I helped on a friend of mine who he has a band they're called Credence again, and they went over to Germany last year for a couple of months, and they had a tour they were following around Jethro Tull, Ian Anderson, and he had a 2-month run, and he asked me if I'd be interested in doing the tour, and I said, I love Germany, wonderful people out there. Let's go out there and do this. And we played 20 songs a night, nothing but CCR, jam-packed crowds. People loved the band. It was really a lot of fun and quite an experience. We got a chance to go through Germany, go through Nuremberg, where my father was a track star before I was born.
Wow.
And, Berlin and Massenburg were all them great little towns. And I got to be honest with you, I didn't know how much I loved Germany. I went over there with Enuff Znuff in the 90s and in the early 2000s, but to be out there and to get a chance to experience a couple of months out there was something I'll never forget. I hail the German people, and I love their culture, and boy, when it comes to rock and roll, they really embrace Creedence Clearwater Revival.
And as far as these tracks,
I'm not doing that now.
Okay.
Devoting my time to Enuff Znuff, and before Enuff Znuff, I was in with Adler's Appetite with Steven Adler from Guns N' Roses. We put out one record, and then before that, I was playing with Missing Persons at the same time as Enuff Znuff.
Wow.
I had a lot of material I had to learn. All the Missing Persons songs were very difficult. It sounds easy, but it's not. It was quite a challenge. After I did that for a couple of years, then I went out with Steven Adler for 3-4 years. I was living in his house in Los Angeles. Great experience. A real brother. As a matter of fact, we recorded an EP together called Adler's Enough, 5 songs, and that'll be out sometime this year as well. You can get it, as a matter of fact, you can get the Adler's Enough record right now on iTunes and other musical outlets.
Oh, cool. I wasn't aware of that.
Media.
I wasn't aware of that. That'd be a cool thing to.
It's called Adler's Enough.
Oh, that'd be a cool thing to check out. Well, and let me, like when you're doing the missing persons thing, that must be a kind of fun thing to do in the sense that you're playing somebody else's music. So when you first start doing it, I imagine you're not as comfortable in being able to play your own songs. That must be kind of a fun thing to do for you.
It was great. We got in the tour bus and we went all around North America, just playing shows every single day. We had the guitar player from Bowie, great keyboard player, a guy named Ronnie, who's from Boston, who learned all the parts, and Dale Bozzi, of course, lead singer. We did all the hit songs, Walking in L.A., What Are Words For, Destination Unknown. It was great every single night. Jam-packed crowds. Really a lot of fun hanging out in the bus with them. Good bunch of cats. And right after I got off that tour, I joined Adler's Appetite, and I went out on the road playing nothing but Appetite for Destruction every single night. That was a challenge, especially when I did the 20th anniversary with them. And Duff and Izzy and Steve and all of us went up and we played the Key Club in Los Angeles. And I had to play those songs, and believe me, I learned them to the T. I made sure I had that stuff down, and I wasn't a huge Guns N' Roses fan when it came out.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when I started playing with Steven, I realized how great that band is and how terrific Slash is, and Axl, what a great singer, and it was quite an honor to play with them. It was always bittersweet. I miss my band Enuff Znuff when I was out on tour with them. I always thought about, man, I wish we were out touring with these guys as well. I can double dip. I can play all these songs, no problem, both sets every single night. However, at the end of the day, I realized that my name is attached to Enuff Znuff. That's my bread and butter. That's the reason anybody knows who I am right now in the world, because of Enuff Znuff. And I'm grateful for where I come from, south side of Chicago, and I'm grateful for the cats I get a chance to play with.
Well, again, you're talking to a guy who's really a huge Enuff Znuff fan, and I just want to thank you, Chip, for the new CD, and say it's really, really a great thing for the fans, and I urge everybody to check it out. And I thank you, again, as a fan, for sticking in there for 30 years when you guys could have just called it a day, when things got going tough. But that's what I think a lot of people admire about your band, is you guys stuck it in there through all the good times and bad times for 30 years, and you're still doing what you do.
Jason, thanks for the kind words. I appreciate it for all your listeners out there. The album's called Covered in Gold. It's on Amazon and iTunes, or you can get it in the stores right now. The more records that we get out in people's hands, the better chance we got to go out and get on a bus and tour and play in your city. So thanks for your support through all the years. And may the best thing that happened to everybody out there last year be the worst thing that happens to you this year.
Yeah, the last thing I want to ask you before I let you go, Chip, is like we're talking about what a great songwriter you are. I was curious, if you ever had the urge to put out a Chip Znuff solo album, or do you kind of pretty much committed anything you do is going to go to Enuff Znuff?
Well, you think about it, most of the Enuff Znuff records is almost like a solo record. It's my brother and I.
Exactly. Yeah.
However, I'm going to put a record out. I had a record that came out that I recorded 3 years ago called Johnny Rotten Jr.
Oh, okay.
And now we're going to put it out. It's going to be called Chip Znuff. And I'm going to attach my name to it. And it's a solo record that features 10 songs. I got Robin Zander from Cheap Trick singing on the single, which is called All Day and All the Night, an old King song. But the rest of the songs are 9 songs on the record, all originals. I co-wrote one song with Trent Reznor from 9 Inch Nails.
Oh, cool.
One song with Steve Miller.
Cool.
Called F. Mary Kill. Steve Miller and Howard Stern are co-writers on the song.
Oh, cool.
And that record's coming out this year, my friend. You're going to hear it this year. And it's called The Death of Harry Potter.
Wow.
And I hope that you get a chance to pick out that record. I tried to make a record that was more like along the lines of Pink Floyd meets Jane's Addiction. I wasn't really trying to write hit songs or anything.
Yeah.
I just wanted to write a nice, cool stoner rock record, and I nailed it.
Well, let me ask, do you have a label that's already working with you on that, or is that something that's in the works?
The record's finished. It's going to be coming out in Cleopatra Records.
Oh, cool. Well, Chip, do me a favor. Please keep in touch. I'd like to help you promote that when the time comes, as well as the new Enuff Znuff studio album. I really enjoyed talking. I'm going to let you go because I know you're very busy. But thanks again for taking time to do this. I can't thank you enough, and maybe we can do it again down the line.
Jason, I can't thank you enough, bro, for taking time out. There's a lot of bands out there you could be talking to. It really means a lot to me. God bless you and your family. And if you want to know anything about my solo record, you can go to my publicist, Deb. Set this interview up, and she'll help you out on that record, okay, and get you a copy of it ASAP.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, thanks, man. And like I said, when the time's right, I'd like to help you promote that because, I'm interested in anything, to do with you because, like I said, I love all the stuff you write. You're just a great writer and a bass player.
Thanks, Jason. I really appreciate that, bro. Listen, you be well, and hopefully I'll be coming through your town. And if I do, make sure you let me know, and I'll drag you in the bus with us to see what happens. I'll show you what happens behind closed doors.
Okay, thanks again, Chip. You take care. Bye-bye.